What's up, y'all? It's Pendarvis Harshaw coming to you from Stay Diff Studios in Oakland, California. I am the host of Dad's Evoking Changes podcast called A Podcast for Pops. For those of you who don't know, Dad's Evoking Change is a nonprofit all about helping men navigate the legal system and beyond that, navigating all that it entails. I'm talking about mental health, I'm talking about physical health, and really just making sure that there's a circle of people who are providing resources so that people know how to deal with this thing. So yeah, welcome today. I'm sitting next to a very talented brother by the name of Dame Drummer. Dame, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great, brother. How you doing?
Solid. Glad to be in your presence. Congratulations on all the work. Dame Drummer, as the name insinuates, is a musician. Beyond that, he's a filmmaker as well. He's recently coming off the release of his film, Black Daddy's the film.
Black Daddy the movie.
Black Daddy the movie. Let me make sure I get that right. Again, Dame Drummer, talented musician, coming off the release of his recent film, Black Daddy the movie. Congratulations on the debut. How'd it go?
Man, it was unbelievable, man. How the town showed up for me, man. When I pulled up to the theater, with my children, we got out the car and the line was outside the building, down, almost around the corner, man. And it was just, they really showed up, man. And the movie did what I envisioned it to do for the people, man.
I want to jump into the movie. So the layout for this conversation, right? I want to talk to you about the movie, why you did the movie, and then jump into a little bit of your personal story, and then talk about what I gleaned from the movie. There was some philosophical points that I think we should share with the audience.
Okay.
But yeah, for starters, what inspired you to make this film?
Just the desire to break the cycle, the desire to change the narrative and give a true representation of the black men that I know in my life and over the course of my life. And I was tired of the narrative, man. Every time you turn on the screen and see a representation of black men, either we entertaining you through sports, or we making you laugh, or we the buffoon, in the sitcom, or we just hyper violent. And it's like, man, come on, man. It's like, yeah, we are some of those things, but the men that I know, they're really pillars in their families and their communities, and they stand for something. And I wanted to show what that looks like to not only, the world who doesn't know, but just really to our own community, man, so that we can have something, so that we can have a vantage point to work from, man.
Right. And you do it well. It's not just talking heads. Like, to be clear, it's a documentary. You're highlighting people who have different experiences when it comes to black fatherhood, and it's not just fathers. You interview a young brother who's talking about his experience at looking at his father, looking for his father, and the nuances of it. How did you decide, what to keep? Because I know there was so much content.
Man, we had, days of footage, man, and it was really tough to get so much footage, cut down to a feature-length, film. But we really wanted to make sure that we touched upon the things that we know are, kind of detrimental to our culture and our people. And we wanted to make sure that we cover that so that anyone who walks into this film is going to be felt and have their, and have a voice, without having to say anything, And I think that we just really, me and Sal, really did a great job of just going through all of the footage and all the great stories that the men offered. And, man, we just did our best to cut that thing down, man.
Yeah, I could imagine you had some people who are overly loquacious, who know how to say some words, and that's why I wanted to ask about editing. How do you keep that down? And also, you got some people with some heavy stories, so to tell that in a succinct form is really impressive, and to include music and make it entertaining, and then to turn the camera to yourself and include your own story in it. Mm-hmm. That was really moving, and it drove it home.
Yeah, man. If you want to know the truth, man, I didn't want to be featured in it at all.
Yeah?
Really. Yeah, man. I wanted to be like this, kind of like this journalist, and just go and capture all the brothers that I, wanted to capture. But obviously some things happened, and Sal convinced me to, put it on me, man, since I was the creator and since I did all the music, and just give people a in-depth look at who I am and what I've been through and the things that make me passionate in life. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of it, I was pleased with making that decision. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it could come off vain. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about Black Daddy, and then here we are hearing a lot of my story and seeing my story. But I think that it was a good mixture of the two worlds, you know what I'm saying, coming together.
It gives you credibility. Like, who are you to tell this story? And then you find out more about you as the storyteller, that you are a parent of two, that you had a nuance is the word that just keeps coming to mind. You had a different experience with your father and your dad in defining what those two ideas mean.
Oh, yeah.
And then during the filming of it, you lost one of those gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bring us into that experience.
Man, it was just it's tough, man. You know, I think it was all divine, man. And, you know, you can't plan for stuff like that, but when it happens, it's like, man, you have to take it, and you have to take them lemons, man, and make some lemonade, man, and some lemon meringue pie, man, and some lemon bars. You know what I'm saying? You just got to do what you got to do with it, man. And you know, my dad was my biggest cheerleader, man. And you know, with him gone, it was just like, man, you know, who gonna cheer for me now, man? Who gonna keep me going and keep me, you know, fired up and feeling good about what I do? But you know, I think that the film, man, just really made me want to work hard, man, at getting a message out to people, and really trying to inspire my people, our people, you know, which I have a huge heart for. And you know, my dad just, you know, he stood for some things, man. In his last days, man, we really had some interestingly deep conversations, man, about spirituality and just about our people and everything like that. So he really he blessed me with some nuggets before he got up out of here.
Blessings to his life and for him for passing on that wisdom. Could you define for me the difference between father and dad?
Man, you impregnate a woman, you know what I mean? That baby come out, you're that baby's father. You're a father. But if you ain't in that kid's life, man, you don't get the term daddy. Daddy, that's like an endearment title that you get. You know what I'm saying? Hey, daddy, that's my daddy. You know what I mean? Father sounds so formal.
Clinical.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But, you know, a dad, for when that baby says, that baby's first word ain't fa-fa, it ain't father. It's dad. That's all baby's first word. You know what I'm saying? Dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that that's by mistake. So, man, you know, when you earn that title, man, that means you there. That means that baby can see you. That means that child has an experience with you, you know. So earning that is a big thing. And I wanted that ever since I was a child, you know. I remember being young and saying, you know, being a lot of times just experiencing a lot of pain and things that I was displeased with my father. And I remember being a young kid, man, saying, when I grow up, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to be this type of dad, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And so I really wanted the opportunity to do that, man, you know, just to stand on my word that I said when I was a kid. So
before we move into your position as a father and how you walk in that, as a dad, pardon me, your father's passing, in the film it's depicted as a conversation that you've recorded, a telephone conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was, you know, you hear my father's voice throughout the film, and it's actually the last conversation that we had. I was talking to my dad, man, just a regular old conversation, man. I think we were talking on a Sunday or something like that, just chopping it up about a bunch of stuff. And then the conversation just started going into this other direction and some things that he hadn't said before, man. You know, and at the time, I was just like, okay, well, we having this conversation. And then the spirit, man, you know, the spirit said, you might want to record this because this is the last time you're going to talk to your father. And I'm just like, wow, what do I do with that information? Do I say, hey, Dad, I just heard this little voice that said this is our last guy? I just was obedient. I had my phone in my hand. My iPad was on my bed. I grabbed the iPad and turned on the voice memo, and I recorded the last 45 minutes, or actually 38 minutes of me and my father's conversation. And then I was inspired to put music to it because I'm a music first guy. So I put music to it, man, and it ended up being the underlying score for the film.
Yeah, it anchors the whole film. Mm-hmm. And the reveal at the end that he has passed, that you're listening to the voice post-mortem.
Post-mortem, yeah.
It's heavy, and also it hits even further home because I appreciate this as a journalist. You asked for his permission to use the audio, but his response to you asking that question, what was his response?
His response was, if I could leave you anything, if I could leave anything, you know what I'm saying, for you and and my grandchildren that I would love to, you know what I'm saying? And he said, thank you, you know. And, you know, my dad, he didn't have an insurance policy. He didn't, you know, we had to take care of him. He didn't leave us anything, you know, but he actually did. He left us the greatest piece of storytelling that we could have ever, unexpectedly wish for or hope for.
Legacy.
Yeah.
Legacy. It is a through line in that whole piece about the legacy of our fathers and how we carry them, and our legacy as fathers, as dads. Mm. In the piece, in the documentary, you touch on a myriad of topics, from being like there's a stepfather interaction. There's, I mentioned the younger brother, you know, talking about looking at his dad. You're in a collective of people. What role does this circle, this group of other fathers, play in your foundation as a father?
Man, accountability. You know, I know people hate that word, but because it requires you to, you know, do some work and do some inventory and some self-reflection and work. But accountability, man, is what these brothers offered me, man. And that's a real thing, man, that we lack in our community, man. We need to embrace that more so we can get further, faster. And, you know, these men also carried me, you know, at the time, you know, when I was, you know, my wife and I, you know, first, you know, had separated and was going through all of that, man. And, you know, I was leaning on these brothers. They were there, and they weren't there for me to be a sounding board only, but they were there for me to, you know, to take accountability and, you know, show me where I had error, or where I was right, or, you know, whatever we needed to do to get me functioning properly. They were there for that, man. And, you know, they were there to, you know, give me a meal when I wasn't feeding myself, or you know what I'm saying? They were just there, man. And I said, man, this is what real masculinity looks like, man. It's very vulnerable, it's intimate, you know what I'm saying? And men, we shouldn't be afraid to hold each other down like this. We shouldn't be afraid to love on each other like this. And I said, I gotta show a cool way to do this, man. You know what I mean? And that's what, you know, a lot of that, man, was like, I gotta make this film, man, because this feels good, it's right. This is what it looks like.
And it's not just a film. This is your reality.
This is my reality. This is real life. This is a documentary. This is no fiction, no script. No, we didn't write anything down. We just turned the cameras on and we pieced it together.
In the film, in your life, you have two little ones. Mm-hmm. What's it like being a father to your two children?
Man, well, first of all, you know, no matter what I went through with their mom, man, you know, I have to give credit to her. You know what I'm saying? She labored, you know, those hours, those months, you know what I'm saying, to bring those children here, man. And so I'll always, you know, honor her for that, man. And, you know, now we're co-parenting, and we have to figure out how to raise them up without our stuff being in the way. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, sometimes it gets challenging because we're reminded of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, hey, man, let's just keep our eye on the prize, and let's raise these children up and just really, despite of what we're going through, try to give them the best life that we can. And it's challenging, man, because these are two perfectly made individuals who have their own mind and own spirit, and they do their own thing, and we just trying to guide them through and teach them and, you know, set them up so that they can have it better than us. So we working it out, man.
Do you have any exercises or tips for people who are navigating a similar circumstance?
I think, man, just communication and just trying to keep the peace and just being mature about the situation, man. You know, don't be petty, man. Y'all like we got to stop putting our peoples in court, man. We got to stop going through their systems, man. We got to stop paying these folks to destroy our families, you know, because that's what we doing. We giving them money to destroy us when we go in these systems, you know, these courts and paperwork and all that stuff. So let's just be mature and let's just accept the fact that it didn't work out. You know what I mean? And let's get to healing and get to, you know, healing ourselves so that we could possibly be available for somebody else that it might work out with. And remind yourself all the time that's about these children.
Yeah. Break
the cycle, man. You know what I'm saying? And help them understand that, you know, as adults, as human beings, that you're going to have, you know, you're going to have relationships that don't work out. And you have to figure out what's going to work and what to do next time and how to keep going. So we just gotta, that's the thing, man. We gotta just really take a mature approach to it, man.
Forward motion as well.
That's it.
With respect, it's not just like just keep trucking, but like you said, accountability, go through the motions, but also keep this conversation moving forward, it seems like.
Yep, that's it.
Have you ever been involved in the family legal system?
Oh man, no, by the grace of God, I have not. And I think that's that maturity I'm speaking about, Me and my child's mom, we always remind each other that we're good people. You know what I'm saying? And we, I always, tell her that she's a good mom. I'm proud of her, and my children adore her, man. So, the time that goes by, you ultimately you wish it would have worked out, but the fact that it's not, you can't just keep leaning and staying in that space that it ain't work out, and this whole regret and anger and bitterness. You just got to be like, okay, well, it didn't work out, but let's keep our eyes focused on these children, man, and make it work for them.
You personally haven't been involved in the family legal system, but you said that you're familiar with people who have, and they've had some horror stories. And even in the film, Lanny Kelly comes through and speaks about his experience. Why was it important to incorporate his story as well as how has the stories of others impacted your perspective on that?
Because, man, that court system is nasty, man. It's already set up for us to lose. You know what I mean? It's set up for us to lose, and it's like, why would you, show up in a place with somebody that at one point in your life you wanted to win with, and now you want to go into a place that is about to destroy somebody? You know what I'm saying? It's like his story is so important because it's a lot of, and it's not set up for the man at all. You know what I mean? So he's had horror stories. I mean, I know him and I see him with his children. Children don't lie. They love their father, man. They adore him. So why is it hard for him to see his children, or why is it hard? Why should it be hard for him to have access to him, or anything like that? So it was important for me to show that because we need to, again, people hate that accountability word, but we got to stop being petty. We got to stop putting each other through these systems that's meant to destroy us even further. Handle the situation that didn't go right for us, but let's keep it there. Keep it in-house if we can. And I know it's not easy. I know it's a lot of things that can make you go into the system, but for the most part, it's hard, man, going in there. And I know people who've been to court 41 times, literally 41 times over some kids. And that's just ridiculous, man. And we got to stop doing that as a people. We got to stay out of these systems.
One thing we haven't talked about in this series of interviews, and I'm really interested to dive into this with you, spirituality. What role does spirituality play in fatherhood, especially given the context of what you're talking about, of like outside forces dictating your life? Yeah. But like, how does spirituality play a role in fatherhood and parenthood for you?
It's everything, man. I had a very, intimate, spiritual life, man. With the Creator, man. But I've been a strong dude my whole life, man. But at one point, I tried to leave this place on my own dime. You know what I'm saying? And it was at that point where, I feel like, the Most High was like, nah, brother, I'm going to use you. You know what I'm saying? This was before the film, though. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to just find out my why, right? After the family, was split up, I was just trying to figure out my why. And I didn't want to be here no more, man. Because really, when a man get up, an ambitious man, he out here getting it so that he can give his family the best that they can have, And when I came out of that situation, I knew and I felt like there was a force trying to stop me from making this movie, stop me from doing the next things that I'm about to do that's going to impact our people, stop me from being, you know what I'm saying, the prince that I am, the God, the heir of the Creator that I am, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, wow, now I'm on fire, you know what I'm saying? And so now that spirituality, I'm leaning on it for real, because now I know I got an enemy trying to stop me from being great and be about our people, So it's very near and dear.
It's like an awakening call.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time, brother. And without being, preachy, because I could have very well took that route. It's just like, no, let me just do the things that I was called to do. And then if people ask me the why now, I have a very concrete answer that I can give them. You know what I'm saying?
For people who are interested and open and looking to take a step down that path of spirituality, of practice, in terms of fatherhood, with that on their mind, any advice you would lend to them?
To go down to investigate the spiritual.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, daily habits or places to go, resources.
Man, I mean, daily habits, man. Tap into the creator. All of us can create things. You could take a piece of paper, fold it a couple times, and fly it. You know what I'm saying? That's creation.
Yeah.
So if we can create, why come something can't create us? You know what I mean? You gotta like ask a couple questions, you know what I'm saying? Ask a couple whys. Why? What sense does all this make? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like everything comes back to a creator. Something that, created us so beautifully, man. And so tap in, ask those questions and try to, ask the creator to reveal, you know what I'm saying, himself to you. And then start there. And then get around some other like-minded people who not just talking about it, but actually doing something.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are already headed down that path.
Yeah.
Like you can see
doing it though.
Tangible examples.
Not judging you. You know what I'm saying? Not like really like showing up. Watch for the people who show up in love. Because if we keep it 100, Christ said, you're going to know my disciples by their love for one another. So when you see love, get close to that.
When you were going through the breakup, what role does spirituality play there?
Man, like I said, man, it was I was leaning on it, man, until I couldn't lean. Till I couldn't stand no more, you know what I'm saying? And then that's when, I feel like the Most High came to my aid, like, you know what? Nah, you can't have this one. You feel me?
Yeah.
You can't have him because I'm gonna use him, and I felt that internal war going on inside me, like while I was in that space, you know what I'm saying? And when I came out of it, I wrote this song called "Ay Ay Ay," because those were the first words out of my mouth when I came out of that situation. And then I later learned that that the Hebrew name for God is Ahaya. You know what I'm saying? Ahaya, Asher, Ahaya, I am that I am. So it's like my mouth said ay, 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 but my spirit was trying to utter Ahaya. You know what I'm saying? So it's really deep, bro.
That's crazy. It just, it oozes through you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. It's really deep.
Spirituality, man. It dawned on why hadn't we had this conversation before? It obviously, when we talk about all the different aspects of fatherhood, mental health, financial health, physical health, navigating the system and know how to represent yourself, spirituality, before you even get to that playing field, you have to do some work for self, between yourself and the creator.
Real talk, off top, man. You got accountability, man. Vulnerability, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to have anything governing us, man. Why? You know what I'm saying? We don't want to govern ourselves. We don't want nobody else over us, governing us, telling us what to do. But the reality is, man, you don't control your last breath or your first breath. So something's governing you.
Constantly.
Tap in.
Yeah. But isn't there a sense of freedom in that? Like once you become disciplined?
Yeah. It's liberating.
Yeah. And I say there's a sense of freedom in it because the alternative to having someone governing you is freedom per se. But the other freedom is choosing where you are disciplined, right?
Exactly. Because that's going to tie you into your purpose. And I say you ain't living until you find out what your purpose is. You just kind of spinning your wheel like a hamster. You know what I'm saying? Like once you submit to that wheel, then it's like now you're going to get an assignment. And I feel like that's exciting because it's a big old world out here. A lot of people doing a lot of things. You get chosen to do something, I feel like that's liberating, man. I feel like that's an assignment. And then you can walk boldly in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Unafraid, man. No fear. You could just be out here just really bold in your purpose.
Serving your purpose, creativity, and like that accountability point that you made earlier. When you create that song, you celebrate it. This is me. I made this, right? Mm-hmm. When you create a child, you work with a partner and you two create it and you celebrate it, right? Mm-hmm. When you create a predicament, do you look at it the same way? Like, I made this.
Explain a little further. Like
a situation you're in, maybe a bad situation, just as a man,
yes,
as a human.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of with accountability in mind.
Yes.
Do you look at it in the same way? Like, I created this.
Yes. And that's where, your brothers come in. That's when the level of accountability that you have to take. You say you have to own it, man. You know what I mean? If you made a choice that was poor, own it. You know what I'm saying? And don't let it do like, you know, a lot of people, they let it rule them, and then, you know, either they may bask in it until it just destroys them, or they just may avoid it by doing some self-destructive stuff by trying to numb it and avoid it.
Yeah.
Or you can look it dead in the face and just say, you know what, I did that. Yeah. And this is what I have to do to make that right.
Damn. Yeah, I asked that question because I know that accountability, you can have a circle of friends who just laugh at you, laugh with you as you numb it. You know, like there can be lack of accountability can show up in so many different ways. But being a creator, you obviously look at your creations and say, yeah, praise me for the good stuff. But I know that from experience personally, I can create scenarios where I'm like, no, whatever, brush it under the table or numb to it. Don't acknowledge it. And my circle of friends would just be like, yeah, we're all numb to it. And so I was just wondering, how, your perspective on taking accountability, taking responsibility for the situations that one might create.
We just gonna keep repeating the same thing, man.
Yeah, there's no progress.
Nah, man, and that's the part that's whack, man. It's like we always complain. We quick to complain about why a situation ain't what it is, you know what I'm saying, or what we want it to be. But we actually have the power. We're given power. You know what I mean? Sometimes we lazy, man. We'll see a situation like we could fix. Like, look, I'm guilty of it too. I ain't gonna sit here and act like I got it all. I'm guilty. Like, I want to work out more, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be flipping through Instagram and see somebody that's cut up, and I'll just hurry up and flip past it because I just know that I'm not about to get up and do no push-ups or jog around the block.
Yeah.
Is it that person who's cut up? Is it their fault? No, it's my fault because I scrolled past it when I could have just, in that moment, dropped my phone, put on my shoes, and ran outside.
Got to it.
In that moment.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that's how life is. When you have purpose, sometimes you don't have time to talk yourself out of it. You just got to do it, man. You know what I mean? You got to right the wrong right there, right? You got to meet it head on.
Did this perspective come to you through fatherhood, or was this young man Dame as well?
No, this is years, man. This is years of living, man. And I'll tell you, my spirituality really started speaking to me when I did have kids, because a lot of things that I would say to my children would bounce right back down from heaven. Like, yeah, that sounds familiar, don't it? And I'd be like, damn. or like, for example, man, I would say, why can't you just follow directions? Why can't you just? And I'd be like, oh, wow, right.
Yeah.
Why can't I just do what you asked me to do?
Yeah.
Father, you feel what I'm saying?
Oh, you preach it to me, bro.
I said, okay, I understand. And that really, I'm telling you, man, the same, the Bible say the same as in heaven is on earth, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like we can't sit here and look at our kids and be like, why you lying? Don't lie to me. And then we do the same thing, bro.
Candidly speaking, man, it's the worst thing in the world when my daughter's mom I'm standing in front of her and I'm telling my daughter, like, don't lie. My daughter's mom standing right there looking at me like,
look at the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah. Oh. It's tough, but you have to take accountability. You have to take responsibility and say, I did that. And what can I do to right the wrong, right?
Exactly. And I mean, and so on the other side of accountability, man, is grace.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, man.
Room for growth.
We got to learn grace as a people, man, because we go hard, man, especially, man, in relationships, man. We want to a la carte our partners, man, pick apart the things that, just drive us crazy, man. And it's like, man, you got to have grace, man, because you could very well be that one that fall out of pocket, out of line. Then what? You're going to want that same grace afforded to you. So it's like we got to start practicing grace, man. Love is something that's really the easy part. Grace is hard because you got to put away your pride, man, in order to do that.
It takes strength. It also takes overcoming fears, because once pain has been caused, then you have to heal. And then for grace to occur, you have to say, I'm going to expose myself to something that has hurt me before.
Mm-hmm. And, people say we hate pain. We love pain, bro, because we hold on to it.
I'll say that again.
We love pain. You know what I'm saying? We'll let pain stop our once beautiful relationships because we just rather lean into that. You know what I'm saying? And because it it give you somebody to point the finger at.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Again, the nuances. That's today's word. Spirituality, how it plays out, and even that kind of interaction of like falling from grace and restoring justice. It's a through line in the film is legacy. After watching the film, I really thought about life in terms of the story that's told. Like legacy is a glitzy term. The story is told. What's the story that they tell about you? You know, as a person, as a parent, and a lot of that is dictated by the decisions you make in the moment. Mm-hmm. And so this legacy concept, how often do you think about it as you're going moment to moment?
All the time, man. All the time. Because, you know, I often question, like, what's my dad's legacy? Like, my dad, like, you know, if you just look at, you know, if you just judging about, you know, on material things or things like that, you know what I'm saying, you wouldn't see much, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't see the house that dad left, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause there is no house that your dad left. You wouldn't see the stocks and bonds that dad left because there is none, you know what I'm saying? But you see his children that he left behind who didn't grow up with one another, who love each other like they did grow up with one another, you know, or, you know what I'm saying? You see that. So there's different forms of it, you know what I mean? And when I look at my father has 6 children and 5 women, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you look at us and you ever see me and my brothers and sisters in the same room, you be like, dang, they tight. You feel me? Like, dang, they solid, you know? And that's my father's legacy because we decided that we weren't going to lean into the pain that we had from him not being around us all or him not having us all under the same roof, you know what I'm saying? Or not picking us up and taking us somewhere so we knew each other growing up. We said, all right, we got 45, 50, 60 years ahead of us. Let's get it in.
Yeah.
And we lean on that. We lean in that.
That's heavy to not look back at the 20, 30 years before that, but to look forward. Mm-hmm. Again, forward moving with respect, though, not just like truck through it.
Yeah.
But like, let's keep the momentum going.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's your legacy?
My legacy, man, to my children, you know, and just my family and everybody who love me, man, is just standing on something, standing on some firm ground, man, you know. And that's, you know, standing on God and God's word, man, and how those words are applicable to my life and how I use them, not to preach, but use them in action and living, so that my living, you know what I'm saying, is the story. I want my children to see how I got up and got after it and produce results. Mm. I want my children to be in love with the results, but I want my children to be in love with my process on how I get the results. So that when they're older and they want these, you know, things or whatever it is that they want, they understand that you have to have a process and you have to work to get it.
Step by step.
Yep.
Keep the momentum going.
Yep. And so, you know, I want my children, you know, to learn that, you know, daddy had discipline, you know what I'm saying? Daddy stood for something. You know, daddy loved us, daddy disciplined us, then daddy loved us again, you know, more. And I just want, you know, I want my legacy to be that, man. Love and taking care of business, man.
For people who feel like they have, the line in the movie is, there are not bad people. There are people who are trying to do better, essentially, is the spirit of the line that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it was a conversation with James Baldwin and, oh man, I wonder who was he talking to? It was James Baldwin. I dare not say Nikki. It wasn't Nikki. It was Giovanni. Hold on, who was he? He was talking, James Baldwin was talking to his sister, right? And, you know, she asked him, were there any good men left? And he said, of course there are good men left. You know what I'm saying? And he's saying, I believe a bad man who wants to do better is a good man.
Right, there we go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's like basically to the tune of, yeah, we make choices and we make mistakes, but let's not live there, man. It's like, if you see that and you know that ain't cool and you want to do better, okay, you good. You got the grace to redeem yourself. Do better. It's okay.
What about for those who want to do better, could possibly very well be doing better, but their legacy, how their story is imprinted on the minds of their loved ones, doesn't seem to be changing. What advice would you give to them? They might be on the right path, but the way that they're perceived hasn't changed.
Man, and now let's take it back to spirituality. That ain't got nothing to do with that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's their problem. You know what I'm saying? If you're out here doing the best that you can do, you can sleep at night, sleep good. You know what I'm saying? And let them. That's their problem. You know what I mean? That's some work that they're gonna do, that they have to do, and probably not gonna do. You know what I mean? But like I said, everybody like to point the finger. You know, if you're doing the best you can, and you can live with yourself, then that's good.
That's all you can really control.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Legacy. Yeah, that film it left me thinking about that so much, man. Like almost living from the reverse perspective. I just keep pointing like this, like when I'm gone, looking backwards. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. There's another line in there where I talk about the dash. You know what I mean? Everybody got a dash.
Mm-hmm.
The day you was born, the day you die, and in between it, it's a dash. That's what it say on your obituary.
Mm-hmm.
So what you gonna do with your dash?
How does it read? How does it stand out?
Yeah, what the dash mean? The two numbers, that's a given. Everybody get them two, but everybody don't get the same dash. So take advantage of your dash and make the best of it.
In conclusion, how do you go from being a father to a dad?
Man, you got to be there, man. They got to know love, man. It's like they got to know you. You know what I'm saying? They got to have a relationship with you. Woo. Same thing, heaven and earth. They got to have a relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you are the creator.
You are the creator. If you don't have no relationship with them, how can they acknowledge you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, somebody might know your name, but if they ain't spend no time with Penn, they ain't got nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But your name, they just know how to say your name and get your attention. But you got to commune with the person, man. You got to show them love. You got to, spend some time with them, man. They got to know who you are.
I'm a firm believer. Once they see you, they know you, they love you. That's how I interact in society.
There you go.
So, people acknowledge them, then get to know somebody, and then that love can only be born in a bed of knowledge, of understanding who this person is, their intricacies, the nuances of this person.
The nuances. Today's words, sponsored by Nuance and Accountability.
Hey, that'll probably be a crazy cologne, like Nuance. The smell of black manhood.
You feel me?
The film is on festival tours. Black Daddy the film. Where can people see it? Where's I keep saying that. Black Daddy the movie is making its rounds, festival tours, award-winning film. Black Daddy the movie. When will it be available to the public?
We are working that out right now. Trying to figure out if we can put it on, like Vimeo on demand without it voiding the film festival circuit. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny, after this weekend, man, everybody's like, well, not everybody, but enough people are like, we want to see it. Where can we see it? How can we order and support? So I'm going to make it available. And I'm going to try to do it while it's still buzzing. But I think that everything that I'm doing with my life now is in alignment. So it's going to come out when it's supposed to come out.
All right, we'll be sure to share it as well, along with this episode. Any final words for people, specifically for fathers who are watching?
Hey, man, fathers, man, I love you, brothers. I love y'all, brothers, man. Do the best you can, man, and be able to live with yourself, with whatever decisions you making, man. If you can live with them, man, and they make you feel good about what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing, man. And if it offends, somebody else, if they don't like the way that you fathering, man, that's something that they got to work on, man. But do right by your children. Do right by children that's in the community that don't belong to you. You know what I'm saying? Do right by people, man. And give these young people somebody to look up to, man. That's one of my favorite things that I remember as a kid growing up. The men in my community, man, feeling safe, feeling like they had our backs, man. We got to be that for somebody, man. It's not just about us. It's not just about our own children that have come from our bodies, our seeds. It's about all of them, man. We all family, man. The black people, man, our community, man. We got to save ourselves, bro. I love y'all. I believe in y'all. Peace.
That's love. Big love on the table, as a good friend says, right?
Big love on the table. Shout out to Champ.
Shout out to Champ Green. Again, that's Dame drummer, talented musician, as well as a filmmaker. Black Daddy, the movie. Black Daddy, the movie is coming to you. Again, my name is Pendarvis Harshaw. I'm the host of Dad's Evoking Changes, a podcast for pops, coming to you from Stay Diff Studios in Oakland, California. Thank you for joining us. Peace.